Do you have a car? Are there things you need to do to it that you just quite don't know? That's okay. Let's show you. It's over here. Now, even if this is still scary, where do you start? Well, first, you start with popping the hood. A lot of people don't know how to pop their hood. I kind of find that amusing. It's usually in the same spot. With this Crown Victoria, it's nice and broken, but it still gets the job done. Now that we've popped the hood, let's get under the hood. Now opening the hood, that can get a bit tricky, especially if it's got those shock type dealios that just give out because, age. But this one I got lucky, and they stay up. Now that you've gotten this far, you might ask yourself, so where the hell do I go from here? There's all these hoses and like caps and stuff. Don't worry. The first thing you want to check is your engine's oil. I got nice clothes on. I don't want to get dirty, I got a meeting in like uh 20 minutes. You want to grab a nice little rag like so. And typically, like with Fords, the older 2000s Fords, it's going to be right here on the driver's side, a nice yellow dipstick for you to see. You pull it out. Looks pretty clean, not too bad. Go ahead and dip it one more time. It's about a quart low. That's not too good. And if you're confused on, how do I know if it's full? How do I know if I need to top it off? Most fluid systems are going to have a maximum mark and a minimum mark. As long as that fluid is in between those marks, you should be fine. So we need to top it off. Do note this vehicle is also at an angle. It's not level. All right, so now that we checked the oil, we're going to check all other fluids. And what else is right next to the oil dipstick? The brake reservoir. Just shake it around a little bit. You don't even got to get dirty. Just barely grab it and kind of wish it around. So we've gone over the oil and the brake fluid level. What's next? Power steering. That is conveniently right here. Maybe you can't see this fill level. You can always pull the cap off and visually inspect. Just make sure there's a good amount of fluid in there. Here's your coolant. Now, older vehicles are going to be slightly different than this. This is a pressurized coolant reservoir. Older vehicles are going to have a cap on the radiator like right here. This is the radiator. This is the pressurized radiator overflow. So to fill this kind of radiator or this style, you have to fill the overflow. Make sure the engine is cold. Always check your pressure in your upper radiator hose. Seems pretty squishy to me. Pull your cap off slowly. I always encourage using a rag just in case you do have some pressure and the coolant is hot. It's going to soak into the rag and not your fingers. Just place it over like that. If you hear that hiss, you're going to want to point the cap away from you. Keep pulling it. Keep turning it. And pull it away from you. Just in case it does, come out of there, it's going to hit the hood and the rest of the car and not you. Once you're done with everything, just replace the cap and make sure it clicks like your gas tank. Perfect. And we're going to move on to the transmission. So this one's really hidden here. It's still another nice yellow dipstick. And we pull it out and take a look at the condition of the oil. It's nice and pink. That's what you should see. Pink and red are the color you want to see. Brown and orange and clear are the colors you don't want to see. You also want to see the fluid's consistency. You don't want to see any air bubbles or any kind of foaming in the transmission. Once you look at the transmission fluid condition, you need to start the vehicle and wait for it to warm up so you can effectively get the right level. Now, in some vehicles like Chryslers, Dodges, they're going to require you to put the vehicle in neutral. And it's going to be real easy to make sure if it's in the right spot or not. So of course, just like your oil dipstick, you're going to have a minimum line and a maximum line. You want that to be right in between those two. And it's going to be a different variable depending if the transmission is warm or if it's cold. If the transmission is cold, it's going to be on the low side. And when that transmission warms up, it expands. So it's going to go into the hot side. You just want to make sure it's in between those areas, especially if the engine's warm or cold. If it's cold and it's in the high side, you need to drain some transmission fluid, or you may have some other issues going on there. If your transmission is warm and it's on the low side, you definitely need to top it off. All right, now that we've checked all the fluids, everything looks to be okay. Oil's right in a good spot, transmission's in a good spot, power steering's in a great spot, and brake fluid is where it should be. First item on the list, crossed off. Fluids are A-okay. The other thing to keep an eye on while you're under the engine bay is your belt. This guy can be very easily overlooked. So the belt's pretty easy to spot anything going wrong with it. The first thing you want to check to see if any of these lines have cracks in them. So let's zoom in. Looks like everything is in really good shape. Now, since the underside of the belt looks pretty decent, we want to look at the top side of the belt as well. So the one thing you want to notice on the top side of the belt is any glazing or super shininess. And this doesn't look super shiny to me. I don't see any glazing. And of course, the other thing to look for in a belt is any fraying, any kind of like threads that are coming off. So now that we've identified that all the fluids are A-okay and the belt seems to be in good condition, just kind of take an eyeball around and see if anything's out of the ordinary. Looks like everything's A-okay to me. And when you start it up, you want to kind of take your ear holes and kind of just listen all over the engine bay. Of course, you might hear some chatter from the fuel injection system. If it's a higher mileage engine, you might hear some chatter from the top end. That's perfectly normal, as long as it's not loud and alarming. So I'm going to at least display what a large vacuum leak is going to sound like. That's pretty audible.
This is a product of that massive vacuum leak on the... This thing just sounds so dirty, dude.
Now with this situation, I know exactly where it is. I even caused the situation, so let's go ahead and fix it. Back to normal. Now that you can see that the engine is running smoothly, it's not shaking, it's not idling like crap, and it's not hunting. This is how your engine should sound. Nice and smooth. So now that we've closed the hood and checked all the fluids, make sure they were good, let's take it on a little interior test. How does it feel on the inside? So first thing you want to do is, of course, get the vehicle running, leave it in park. And you're going to want to turn your wheel all the way left and all the way right. Well, the first noise I want to hear is any kind of whining or any like low cat meowing sounds. A very whiny, kind of annoying sound when you turn. The other thing that you're looking for is any clunks, any kind of weird metallic or thud sounds. You got the vehicle running and you did your power steering test. What's next? Well, firmly put your foot on the brake and slowly go through your gears like so. And the one thing you want to pay attention to is how the transmission shifts. How fast does it shift? And when does it shift? Does it shift when I select a gear? Does it take a considerable amount of time to shift when I select that gear? Does it make any clunks or thunking noise when you shift it into that gear? As you can see with this car and its current mileage, everything is smooth. Smooth as butter. No wonder they use these cars for so long. 0 to 60, everybody, in a 2002 Crown Victoria with 241,000 miles. Not bad, especially for an old boat that weighs about 4,000 pounds. Time for the brake stop test. In 3, 2, 1. Oof. That's pretty good. It carried itself very well. There was no juddering. I didn't feel any jaggedness in the steering. It didn't pull to one side. Those are the few things that you want to watch out for when you're doing the 60 to 0 stop.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this video.
Anyway, this is called a redneck kickstand. Hope you guys enjoy watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Now this can definitely be intimidating, because where the hell do you go from here? Go from here, from. We're gonna move on to the next fluid. Oh my goodness. Go to the cat. The cat. Now, this is very crucial. You want to make sure that this is a good cat. You can see here, good color, good coat. He's nice, fluffy, pretty warm too. And this cat is conveniently named Grayson. We're gonna pull him out because he's not in his native territory.
Grayson. If you like this video, please subscribe. More videos like this are to come. Thank you.
He's already.